Let's go to Atlanta. Georgia Bulldogs facing the LSU Tigers. Georgia is a 17.5 point favorite. Over under set 51 in this game here, fresh. I tried. I tried really, really hard. I tried to find something for LSU and to give LSU some hope in this game. I got nothing. I got very little. So go ahead, resident Georgia fan. I'll turn it over to you.
Well, when it comes to SEC championship games, this is actually the second most common matchup in the history of it. You have Alabama, Florida, and LSU, Georgia. Um, the Tigers do own it, 3-1 in the SEC championship game. They've won the last two matchups overall against Georgia. This is not the same LSU Tiger team that they have faced in the past. I will say that right now. There's definitely a talent gap. They are growing. I think they're way ahead of schedule. They have played well, but that loss to Texas A&M um, was a major clunker, offensively and defensively. They just could not get out of the way. And when you let an A&M team who's been having trouble all year long that score um, at will almost, it says that your team was either looking forward, looking way ahead to this ball game, or you're a little overconfident in your abilities that maybe A&M was just that bad, and you weren't really focused to finish the football game. Jalen Daniels did get dinged up in that football game. He wasn't a walking boot earlier in the week. Um, at this point, I still expect him to play. I think the team does too, but obviously the walking boot is for precautionary reasons to keep him healthy. But he is the dynamic effort on that Tiger offense. Um, with his legs, with his arm, with his vision, his ability to be outside the pocket and move the football all year long has really kept that offense on pace and on track and on schedule to score and to move the football. There's definitely been learning curves for that entire offense as the season's gone on. It was not the same philosophy that they've had in the past. So playmakers like Keishawn Boutte's had to learn and adapt to a different role. They have a stable of four good running backs who have been um, com- very considerate of each other. They all bring different little things to the ball game where the offense has been able to work with their skill sets to keep the ball moving and the points on the board. The offensive line still dealing with some lack of cohesiveness at times. As you saw in that opener, especially versus Florida State, they had guys who they were just piecing guys together, and it's been kind of the same unit who works, who jigsaw puzzle, who fits the right for the right time, the right game, and who's seeing what the quarterback and the offense should be seeing to make the right blocks and the right keys. That'll continue to evolve. They are going to get a big challenge when they play this Saturday versus the Georgia Bulldogs front seven. They're going to definitely get some looks they have not seen before. But when it comes down to it, it's not just about the legs and the running game. It's about that passing game. They're going to have to throw the football in this ball game to strike fast, especially if they get down a little bit, and to keep this thing alive. It's not just going to be Keishawn Boutte. Actually, the number 7 receiver is Malik Neighbors, actually eighth in the SEC in yards. He's been the shining star right now. Has been Boutte. Boutte's been in and out of the lineup every once in a while, maybe kind of keeping in pace. Had some issues with the coaching staff early in the year trying to figure out his fit into the offense. And Neighbors has done a great job of really taking that role and taking on that responsibility. LSU always puts out great talent at receiver, and he's just another one of those guys who's showing up on Saturday. Defensively, Harold Perkins, he is a wrecking ball. He's a machine. The defense has been a very big bright spot for the Tigers, and they always put athletes on that side of the ball. How will that defense react to Stetson Bennett, to the receivers, to the tight ends, the offensive line that's up for the offensive line of the year, and the running back, especially highlighted by Kenny McIntosh? Where are they going to fit in? How are they going to adjust the different looks they're going to get? Does Perkins, are they going to take him off the edge as a pass rusher? They're going to put him as a spy for Stetson Bennett, or are they going to try to match him one out in the flat with Bowers or Washington? Are they going to use his athletic ability and coverage and not pass rush? I personally think they need to use him as a pass rusher and help minimize that. If you waste it, then he becomes a complete decoy. You put Bowers out there, he follows him, you remove him from the game. They need to keep him as an attacker going after Stetson Bennett, forcing Bennett to make mistakes as opposed to just being in space or marking up on one of the tight ends or a running back out of the backfield. Use Harold Perkins to let everyone else sort of flow in where they are. But they're gonna in for quite of a challenge with the Georgia Bulldogs, who quietly have a top 5 offense in the country. As they come to this ball game, we saw when they matched up with this Tennessee shredded them up, down, left, and right. They did much better against Alabama at night, and that offense there from with Bryce Young at the helm. But that was a night game in Baton Rouge versus a noon game, different story. more talent. When it comes to the Bulldogs, they haven't won an SEC championship game since 2017 when they beat Auburn. They've lost a few in a row. There's definitely that fire. It's not like they've won 3 or 4 in a row and it doesn't mean as much anymore. They haven't won one in a while. And I think that's a very burning, item in their heart and their soul when they come to this football game. They have a lot to prove. They're still playing technically for the number one seed. Is it them or is it Michigan? So I don't expect them to lay down in this football game except they'll come out with a little fire. Um, they're going to run the football, use the tight ends, but it's going to be interesting to see which receivers other than Ladd McConkey step up. Is A.D. Mitchell healthy? How do they get him in the groove, ready for the playoff run? And how do they attack that LSU secondary? Try to avoid Perkins as much as you possibly can, maybe use him to a disadvantage, try to expose him in space, or use decoys to take him out of the play. Offensive line is going to have to be able to account for him and move the football. Georgia's offense should be able to run the ball up the middle. That Matt McIntosh and the rest of those tailbacks should have a nice afternoon. And what does this Georgia defense do? How do they address Jalen Daniels? Do they bring pressure? Do they minimize him? When I was looking at studying, I kind of look at him as like a Hendon Hooker who has a mobility from the backfield, takes that opportunity, and then uses his athletic ability to create a passing game. Got to look at it like that, where keep him in the pocket, force him to throw early, give him different, unique, exotic looks. Um, this team, both sides of the football, have had slow starts the past few weeks. Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Georgia Tech. How does this team come out of the locker room and play with the fire? They played amazing versus Tennessee, but since then it's been a sluggish first quarter. You kind of get a couple stops, maybe give a lot of yards up, you're not looking fiery and aggressive offensively, not going down and imposing a will, not scoring as many touchdowns early, and kind of letting teams hang around. Which Georgia football team really shows up to start the football game? Are they going to turn it on? Or are they going to play like they played the past 3 weeks? Um, in the end, I think they come out with fire. I think they come out with a little intensity and anger and a focus. They have a lot on the line. They can't mess around anymore. You're in basically the final stretch. Dogs win 38-17, and they put points up early and often and take out the Tigers and win a crown.
So, Fresh, Georgia to win this game is they're going to hand the ball on first down to McIntosh. Then second down, they're going to hand the ball to Edwards. And third down, if you get to third down, hand it to Milton. Reset, repeat. And again, hand the ball off, run the football, run the football, run the football. No one on LSU, this LSU defense, especially the rush defense here, is not the same as we've seen in years past. They don't have the ability. You brought up the fact that they're able to run the ball up the middle. And I saw the same thing too. I really hope that Georgia limits Stetson Bennett to like less than 25 passing attempts in this game. And that's not a knock against Stetson Bennett. I feel like if Stetson Bennett has to throw more than 25 times in this game, you're probably down and you're probably having to pass a little bit more to play catch up. Shorten this game. Shorten this game. Get the clock running. Get the clock going in Atlanta. Ride McIntosh, Milton, and Edwards there. Robinson, throw him a few carries as well. But realistically, Georgia just needs to ram the football down LSU's throat in this game here. If Jaden Daniels can't go, it's Garrett Nussmeier. I would kind of like want to say like, is this Niedermeyer from Animal House? I'm waiting for someone to show up with a pledge pin on his uniform and someone to hit a horse with a golf ball. It's going to take a thing like the Deltas for LSU to win this football game. You're going to have D-Day go out there, buy a old school Lincoln, turn it into the Deathmobile, ram it into the Georgia Dome or the Mercedes-Benz Dome, whatever it's called these days, and just completely destroy the homecoming parade like they did in Animal House for Georgia to lose this football game. Yes, it is going to take an act of that. Is it over? Yes, it was over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor. It is over here, Fresh. LSU, I don't if I'm wrong on this, I'm wrong on it. I'm wrong. And it is. I just don't see it for LSU. I'm sorry. You've had a great season. I agree with you. LSU way above where they should be at this point. I did not think LSU would be playing for the SEC title game this season with Brian Kelly coming in there. Jaden Daniels has played very, very well this season. But this is not the same type of LSU team that we're used to. This is not that team. They're a good team. They are a good team. But they aren't that team. And if they give Georgia their first loss of the year, You had me completely fooled, and I missed something big time in this game. So I got Georgia, and I got Georgia big in this game. So
I mean, the biggest thing is that LSU fans, look where we were a year ago at this time. We were hearing Brian Kelly, center court, talking about family and making a mockery of himself and looking like a fool, and everyone's laughing at him. And now you're playing for an SEC title. Um, and everything he's done, he has barely one recruiting cycle, putting together another solid class. And honestly, I don't think Jalen Daniels is really truly the quarterback, but he's played well and gotten him coached up quickly. You got a bright future coming, so you're way ahead of schedule. This is a great spot, and if they come out with firing and playing well, then you know that Brian Kelly and this staff is the right group, and you should be real proud. But I think this is the Bulldogs' day. They're hungry for an SEC title. They haven't had one in a long time, and I expect them to really re-declare that they are the defending national champions.